The early morning light broke over Parliament Hill in hues of rose gold, bathing Ottawa's neoclassical buildings in regal tones. A gentle breeze fluttered the maple flags lining Wellington Street. Crowds had already begun gathering along the route, their breath forming clouds in the crisp spring air, their excitement palpable. For the first time in decades, Canada was preparing to greet a new monarch, or in this case, a new pair. On this historic May morning, the capital was readying itself for a moment steeped in centuries of tradition and tinged with modern elegance. Their Majesties, King Alexander IV and Queen Isabella, had arrived in Canada for their first official visit as sovereigns, a tour that promised to celebrate the enduring bond between crown and country, while marking a fresh chapter in the monarchy's evolving narrative. A moment decades in the making. When King Alexander ascended the throne following the passing of his mother, Queen Eleanor II, he inherited not just a crown, but a legacy stretching back more than 1,000 years. His mother had reigned for 68 years, a monarch beloved across the Commonwealth, known for her quiet strength and unwavering sense of duty. Canada, one of the Crown's most cherished realms, had always held a special place in the heart of the late Queen. In her final years, she made it clear that she hoped her son would continue that tradition. And so, with this visit, King Alexander and Queen Isabella stepped onto Canadian soil, not only as dignitaries, but as bearers of history, symbols of continuity, and catalysts of change. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Pageantry and People. The royal couple arrived in a sleek, modern motorcade escorted by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in full ceremonial dress. Their appearance was met with an eruption of applause and cheers. Children waved flags. Elderly couples dabbed tears from their eyes. People had traveled from as far as Yukon and Newfoundland to witness this moment, a shared thread of monarchy that still binds the vast and varied Canadian mosaic. The king, tall and distinguished with steel-gray eyes and a military bearing, emerged from the vehicle first. Dressed in a tailored navy morning suit adorned with the Order of Canada, he exuded quiet confidence. At his side, Queen Isabella dazzled in a cream dress designed by a Métis designer from Saskatchewan, a nod to Canada's rich cultural heritage and the Queen's commitment to inclusivity and representation. As they stepped onto the red carpet leading to the Centennial Flame, the Parliament bells tolled in a cascading melody. A 21-gun salute thundered from Majors Hill Park, echoing across the Ottawa River. Ceremony meets symbolism. In a carefully orchestrated ceremony on Parliament Hill, Prime Minister Danielle Laramie welcomed their Majesties with an eloquent address that intertwined respect for tradition with aspirations for the future. "We welcome you not just as our sovereigns. We welcome you not just as our sovereigns," she said, "but as fellow travelers on Canada's journey, diverse, democratic, daring." The King responded with warmth and humility. "Canada has long stood as a beacon of peace, perseverance, and possibility," he said. "My mother often spoke of her love for this country and its people. I stand here today, not just in her shadow, but walking beside her legacy, and with all of you." He then turned and laid a wreath at the National War Memorial, pausing solemnly in remembrance. The Queen joined him, their hands momentarily linked, a silent gesture of unity. A royal walkabout. What followed was perhaps the most beloved of royal traditions, the walkabout. Abandoning protocol's strict boundaries, the King and Queen spent nearly an hour mingling with Canadians. The King shook hands with veterans, accepted flowers from children, and joked with university students waving cheeky signs. "Long live the King, but God save the Leafs." The Queen, radiant and engaged, spent time speaking to a group of Indigenous leaders, her words earnest, her listening active. "Reconciliation is more than a concept," she said softly to a young Cree woman. "It must be a partnership, rooted in respect." Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This moment would be replayed in headlines, social media, and news clips across the country, a monarch and consort not just waving from a balcony, but walking among their people. A toast to unity. That evening, Rideau Hall played host to a state banquet in honor of the visiting royals. Under the soft glow of chandeliers and the warm embrace of wood-paneled walls, diplomats, artists, community leaders, and veterans gathered for a night of elegance and emotion. Chef Laurent Bedoin created a menu celebrating Canadian culinary diversity: butter-poached Nova Scotia lobster, Alberta beef with Saskatoon berry jus, and maple creme brulee finished with a hint of lavender from British Columbia. In his toast, the Governor-General captured the spirit of the occasion. "In you, we see not only the crown, but a couple who understands the weight of the past and the promise of the future. Canada welcomes you not just with formality, but with affection." Queen Isabella responded on behalf of both. "I was not born to the crown, but I have come to love the places and people it connects. Canada is a jewel in the Commonwealth, not for its riches, but for its hearts." A visit beyond the capital. The Ottawa welcome was only the beginning. Over the next 10 days, the royal itinerary would take them to 5 provinces and 1 territory, a meeting with Inuit elders in Nunavut, a visit to a Ukrainian cultural festival in Manitoba, a tree-planting ceremony in British Columbia, and a moment of reflection at the residential school memorial in Kamloops. At every stop, they sought to emphasize themes of sustainability, youth empowerment, cultural reconciliation, and innovation. The Queen, known for her passion for the arts, inaugurated a traveling Indigenous art exhibit titled Voices of the Land. The King visited a clean energy hub in Alberta, praising Canada's leadership in the global climate dialogue. These weren't symbolic gestures, they were statements of intent. The monarchy was adapting, learning, and striving to be relevant in a world increasingly skeptical of its necessity. Changing the crown, keeping the heart. Public opinion about the monarchy in Canada has evolved. While some question its relevance, others see it as a stabilizing force in turbulent times. What was clear during this visit, however, was that tradition and transformation are not mutually exclusive. King Alexander represents a new generation of monarchy, less rigid, more responsive. He has spoken openly about mental health, climate change, and technology. Queen Isabella, a former human rights lawyer, has championed women's education and access to justice. Together, they represent a quieter, more modern reign, not devoid of glamour, but grounded in purpose. As one onlooker, a teacher from Halifax, put it, "It's not just that they're royal. It's that they're real. They're listening. They care." A lasting impression. By the time the royal couple boarded their plane at the end of their Canadian tour, the sun was setting in a blaze of amber and gold. They left behind a country buzzing with conversation, warmed by connection, and perhaps a little more united by the shared story they had helped write, if only for a few days. King Alexander's parting words at Vancouver International Airport echoed across the tarmac. "This is not goodbye. It is, as ever, a promise. To return. To learn. To serve." And with that, the engines roared to life. The maple leaves rustled as the aircraft rose into the dusk. A new reign had taken flight, not just across oceans, but into the hearts of Canadians. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.